grew up down the peninsula, out in the woods near the coast, really rural. I spent most of my time out in the woods. You know, nature, rocks, creeks, trees were kind of what informed my world, really, much more than other people I've met. Well, my space in particular gives me a convenient place to go where there's tools and supplies and quiet and the environment's controlled and the lighting and the heat, temperature, all of that is a given so that then I can just focus on what I want to make.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it.
That is a big part of it. I mean, to be out on the sidewalk every day trying to make art would really be distracting.
Yeah.
These walls are really, really smooth, and I keep them that way because having the smooth walls is a big part of how my work works. The walls end up being, they're both a gallery-like space, and then at the same time, they kind of disappear from our perception. So the wall becomes kind of under the radar of what we're paying attention to. We know we're in a room, but we're not focusing on the room we're in. And that's an important part of this studio space, and that studio space too, that the walls are clean like that. Also, it's a place where you know you can make a mess and not have to live with it.
Well, I've always had a studio, and I think coming to San Francisco was interesting because in the Midwest, I not only had studios, but I also would rent a whole floor of a warehouse, and I would subdivide it up for other artists to use. Pretty inexpensive compared to San Francisco. So I've always had studios like this, fairly vast. And then coming to San Francisco, the first couple of years, I worked out of my apartment a little bit more. And then I was working in the basement of the cafe, and it just, I think what it did was showed me that the space really isn't important. And if you look at Giacometti's studio, it was like a little closet with a bare light bulb, and Francis Bacon's studio was just this little messy pit that he worked in. The studio has nothing to do with the artwork that comes out of it. And I think coming to San Francisco really taught me that I can work anywhere. I will always have a studio. But I think it's really important for an artist to have a studio. To have a space where you go, where you think. I think for some it's like a clubhouse. You know, it's some place to hang out, but it's a place to get your thinking done. It's a place where you really focus on what you're doing. It's really a wonderful thing to come in the morning, and
It seems like you get pretty good light.
it's good light. It's noisy. The trucks outside are always blocking the street, and somebody's swearing, and the horns are honking. But
That doesn't bother you.
it's the city. No, it's very private. It feels good. Yeah, of all the studios I had, this one has a good energy. I've made some work that I really like here, so it's got that association too. That it's been good to me. It's been a real great studio.
I don't consider that I even started painting until late. I did some painting, some watercolors, but I'd never tried an oil painting. And I had a big, huge, live-work loft in Oakland. I'd moved from San Francisco to Oakland to save money and to get some space so I could have a dog. And when I was there, I was fortunate enough to meet a guy named Mark Stock. Mark Stock's a very well-known painter. He's got coffee table books and stuff like that. And I was a little depressed about a girlfriend situation. He's like, "Oh, why don't you try painting? I've got these extra supplies." And I didn't go and paint some little painting. I went and painted a 6-foot by 8-foot painting. And it was the first painting experience I spent every single day. I was between jobs, and I just started doing it. And I was doing it. Yeah, I mean, it was like, it took 6 weeks, and I was painting every single day, at least 6 hours a day. This is kind of the hangout area. Kind of just chill out. People come over and we talk and whatnot. I lived here for a while, and built this kitchen in the bedroom and put a bathtub in and things like that. And but living here just wasn't conducive to working. It was too messy to be here, and then it's like work and living never stopped. And so what would happen is I was really muddled. I'd be like working at 1 in the morning and be like, what am I doing? I should be asleep right now. And then I would be getting up at 4 in the afternoon. It didn't work out so well. There's a real plasticity to the space because I can do anything I want here. It's also a freedom relationship for me. It's a requirement.
Yeah.
I mean, I can build a wall right now. I can put a crane up. I can do something on the roof.
Whatever you want.
Anything.
And that's
I can take those windows out, over here, and bring something big through and replace them with something else if I want. As long as it's yeah. I don't have to worry about if I'm spilling paint or if I need to nail something down to hold something in place. It's not it's an actual shop.